I have this problem. I've been married to my wife for about a year and a half. I'm fully committed, like this whole joint, the two become one and everything is ours. But I constantly keep going back to referring to things as like mine. It makes her feel like we're less, that this marriage is less than my first marriage.
What up, what up, what up, what up? This is John with the Dr. John Delony Show. Hope you are doing well. It's time to turn down the Limp Bizkit. Ben, that's all he listens to anymore. And Kelly, it's time to put down the Marlboro Reds. We're inside. It's time to have a show. I haven't seen you guys in a couple days, and I miss you.
I know. So for those that don't know, John was
out on the Road
summit event. I got to see you because I watched you on screen do your talk.
Yeah.
But
I miss you.
You did, yeah.
We stay up all day, all morning. I got that in reverse. I'm kind of sleepy.
Yeah, I figured you were. Y'all got in late last night.
Yeah. But I got to sit by Ken Coleman, right next to him, middle seat. Dope.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
Ew.
Hey, we'll probably have to edit all this out. On this show, we talk about your mental health, your emotional health, your marriage, your any kind of relationship you got, relationships at work, relationships at school, with your kids. We are living in a time when the world is trying to pull our relationships apart and throw everything online and run everything through an app and run everything around you. The adults trying to figure out how to keep everything moving forward. And that's what this show is about. I'm going to sit with you, real people going through real stuff, and we're going to figure out what's the next right step. If you want to be on the show, give me a buzz at 1-844-693-3291. Or go to johndelony.com/ask, A-S-K. All right, let's go out to Detroit Rock City and talk to Derek. Hey, Derek, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
We're just figuring it out, brother. How are you?
I'm going to make it.
I hope I am, too. Good deal. What's up, man?
So, I guess, I don't know where to start, like everyone, but... So I guess the moral of my story here, the root of my question is, I have this problem. So I've been married to my wife for not quite 2 years now, about a year and a half, and we're I'm in it. We're in it. I'm fully committed. Like this whole joint, the two become one, and everything is ours, right? And so and that's how we live. We share money. We do everything together. But I constantly keep going back to referring to things as like mine. And I'll say like, just the other day we were getting a generator installed and I said, oh, I need to go check on my generator. It's not my generator, it's our generator, but it's my house. It's my, I always refer to stuff like that. And I don't want to, and I don't live that way. And I just don't know how. I try to change it. I try to catch myself. When I hear I'm in a conversation, I'm saying something, I'll hear the I come and I'll try to correct it to we or something like that. But this is my second. It's both of our second marriages, and she has told me that it makes her feel like we're less. That this marriage is less than my first marriage. So I just, you give a lot of, I love your advice you give to people. I can use it on a lot of cases into myself. And so I just wanted to hear from you as maybe actions I can take to not do that, or mindset change or something.
Yeah, I appreciate that, dude. And I appreciate you trying to work on that. That's awesome. Hearing your wife and wanting to do something different. Tell me about your first marriage, man.
So it was stereotypical, I guess, right? It was I met her at work, and we, same religious background, so we clicked pretty quick, and married, and engaged and married in 2 years, and we were married for 12 years altogether.
And how did that wind down?
She actually passed away just before COVID started.
Tell me about that.
It was weird. It was I would say sudden, mysterious series of medical issues that we never really got closure on. It was about 6 months worth of, constant doctor's visits until she kind of went downhill real quickly in the end.
Wow, dude. What was her name?
Emily.
Pretty awesome.
Oh, she was fun.
Yeah. And how long after she passed away did you meet your new wife?
Well, I initially met her back in high school.
Oh, rad. Okay. So
yeah,
you like
actually,
Dawson's Creek this way.
we were prom dates.
Gross. I don't want to wait.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Okay, so you rekindled with your prom date.
Yeah.
This is going to be a weird question. Are there inequities in your marriage? Are you a gajillionaire and she's not, or is she a gajillionaire and you're not?
Yes, I would say that. Yes, there are inequities.
Oh, there are. Okay, walk me through them.
Yeah, I mean, so me and my previous wife, we were, double income, had a house together, and no real big deal, with finances. She had been divorced for like 6 or separated and divorced, right? So like 6 years, and she's got 4 kids. And so she was a single parent in large part for years. And
your new wife
went back to college. Yeah. My new wife. Yeah.
All right.
So, so I was financially, I'm okay. I was done really well, and she's made it, but it's been a struggle. And I'm happy to, I'm glad I'm in a position that it's less of a struggle for her. Right. And it's never been, there was never an issue in our dating where I looked at that as like, financially, you're not at the same level as me. Like that was never something that deterred me at all.
Here's the two, and I'm fishing here. Okay. I don't know for certain. You seem like a great guy. Okay. So I'm fishing here. I want you to go back and listen to this conversation when you get a chance. It's small, but you and your first wife, had a house together.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all did things together. And in your new relationship, that's mine.
Right.
And I'm wondering if you fully metabolized her passing. I'm wondering if you've truly let her go. And I have sat with people who are passed away from mysterious illness, and the only thing I think more catastrophic is, and again, there's not levels to loss. There's trauma, and all that. But when I talk about grasping for ghosts, and I've never personally experienced this, so this is just me sitting with people. Either somebody disappears and they can't find them, they can't find their body. They know somebody drowned, but they never find them. And somebody who dies of an illness that nobody can really pin down. It's like trying to hug a ghost. It haunts you in a different way than somebody gets cancer and passes away. And it has again, this is just anecdotal to me sitting with people. There hasn't been a whole bunch of them, right? So my first question is, I'm wondering if you're still hanging, and I wouldn't fault you. I wouldn't say you're a bad guy. But if there's something like, no, I was married and now I'm doing this other thing, versus at some point deciding I'm going to let my first wife go. And then this is going to be our stuff. The second thing is, when you experience a really significant loss, you tend to walk through the world a little more guarded and a little more, I make these decisions, y'all make those decisions. And the idea, the scary V word, vulnerability, that I'm going to risk getting hurt again in any way, is really a tough challenge to overcome. And I'm wondering if unintentionally, right, way back in your nervous system, that you're hedging. Because if I fully enmesh in somebody else, if I fully go all in again, I may have to experience what I experienced last time. And so this is mine, that's yours. By the way, I'm happy to help, almost in a dad kind of way, almost in a paternal kind of way, like I'll take care of it kind of thing, which is going to be the doomsday for your new marriage, right? it has to be I'm not better than you, man. I married well first time around, and we had some good money, and we did things together, and we set up some things up. So now we got launched out of a can in marriage too. So does any of that ring true, what I'm saying? And you tell me, dude, you're out to lunch, or if you're like, no, that kind of hits in my guts.
Well, anything's possible, right?
Sure.
And that's exactly why I call it, because I want to know those avenues. But I don't hear it and say, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna have to sit on it and digest it. But I know I am. I mean, I feel, I do feel like I've passed. I guess I want to say I've settled, or I've dealt with her past.
You've let her go.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I feel, I've come to terms. I know I did all I could do, and there's nothing looking back on it. I couldn't have done anything differently, right?
Yeah.
And I know that, at least I have that in my mind.
What does your new wife? What does she contribute now? Like, does she actually click the bills to pay them online? Does she make budgets? Does she have a job? What does she do?
So we just started her own business.
Okay.
So she's doing her own thing. So the income is a little more scarce, but she's active and involved in everything.
Go back to the questions I asked. Y'all do it. Like, who actually does this stuff?
Yep. So we do like the whole Dave Ramsey budget stuff. Where she actively is updating that and going through that. She participates in budgets and does that. So it's all, from a money standpoint, it's all out there, and we know, and we say, okay, hey, we're negative this month for these reasons, and we have those open discussions.
Well, what I'm wondering is less about the openness in the discussion, because if you learn one thing when you're going to doctor after doctor after doctor, you learn to just talk about stuff, right? So you know how to have hard conversations, probably better than most. What I'm wondering is she fully participating in your house in a way that you're able to exhale, or are you running the show? Often when I find myself, here's a good example. I rarely, if ever, say the words, my show. It's got my face and my name on it. Dude, without all of these people like making this thing happen, I'm just a knucklehead on a street corner yelling really loud, right? Mm-hmm. It's ours. It's our show. It's the show. It's the thing that we all do together. And when I see people, when it gets out of whack, when they feel like they're doing the lion's share of everything and they're the most important player, they're the star of the team, it's easy to say, like, my team. Kobe Bryant said, my team. Mm-hmm. He had another Hall of Famer on that team. He's like, this is my team. And that's how he looked at it versus, no, this is ours. This is us. And so I'm wondering, on a day-to-day basis, are you allowing her to participate? Is your hands open enough in the daily flow of the household that you're watching and experience her being an active participant, an active member of the decision-making and the action steps of this home?
Yeah. So in large part, yeah. I can think of a couple, there are some times where I unilaterally have made decisions, yeah, and just said, well, I'm going to do this and whatever. But
how does that sit with her?
Horrible.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I would be willing to bet, and again, thanks for letting me kind of poke around and see. If I'm you, that's where I would start. Number one, I would sit down and say, hey, I talked to the dude on the radio, talk to the podcast guy. I want you to be 100% full-fledged, like, we're doing this thing together. Would you be willing to write some things down? Because I know I'm a lot. I'm a full presence here. So would you write some things down, and then we can talk about it over dinner, over breakfast one day? Ways that you feel like I edge you out from decision making, from ideas. It could be something as small as paint color or flowers in the yard, or it could be parenting stuff. It could be how we're investing our money, how we pay bills, things that we buy. Would you let me know some, like, the ways that you feel like I step over you, I'm trying to act like your dad, or I dismiss you or belittle you? My guess is you're from time to time, but I bet it's way more. And I don't think you're a bad guy for it. I think you are just trying to make sure your home is as great as your home could be. You've had a good home before with somebody else. You've been through hell in a home before. You're going to make this thing good. You're going to make it great. She clearly can't operate her money. I'm going to take care of it. She clearly is a single mom. I'll take care of it. And that's something that you'll have to build together. And my guess is the more active her participation in this thing, the more it's y'all's instead of just yours. The second thing is I want you to start a gratitude practice, but not in a cheesy way. I want you to make a plural gratitude practice with your wife. Go to store today and get a stationery store, Walmart, Walgreens, wherever, get a small journal, and I want you to keep it on your bed. And I want you to write 3 to 5 things every single morning. I'm so grateful for our home. I'm so grateful for our wild sex last night. I'm so grateful for our sitting on the front porch holding hands. I'm so grateful for our retirement that we're okay. And I want you to begin to practice that, and I want you to leave it on the bed, and her job is to write 3 to 5 things at night. I'm so grateful for and we're going to practice this together. And I guarantee you over 30 days of doing this, you in the morning, her in the evening. In the morning, you're going to read what she wrote, and in the evening, she's going to read what you wrote. And maybe you write each other a little note. But you're going to begin to practice this. And as you feel angsty, I want you to lean into those angsty moments. I'm so grateful for our home. And your body goes, it's my home. That's it. Let's lean into that. But let's ask her, where is she a participant? Give her some, share some roles, share some of the responsibilities, and not just the little stuff like cooking and make sure the dishes are put away. Some of the big stuff, decisions. Where are we going to live? How are we going to do life? Where are we going to eat? What are we going to do with the kids? And I want to just begin to practice. Every day, 3 to 5 times, I'm going to write it down. I'm so grateful for our. I'm so grateful for our. I'm so grateful for our. Start there, my brother. Holler back, man. I'm interested to see how this plays out for you, and I appreciate the call. We'll be right back. This show is brought to you by Hallow. Almost every day, whether I'm doing my red light therapy, driving to work, listening to the Gregorian chants on the airplane, or just sitting on my front porch, I spend time using Hallow, my go-to app for guided prayer, music, and meditation. And right now, I'm going through a particularly stressful time. I got big deadlines, big speeches coming up in front of thousands of people, end of school and other family transitions, and on and on. And recently, I made a decision amidst all the chaos to dive even deeper into my faith and spiritual practices, and Hallow is leading the way. Hallow is the #1 prayer and meditation app in the world. They have 10,000 plus audio-guided prayers and meditations, including daily prayers, daily gospel reflections, daily psalm readings, daily writings, minute meditations, and more. And there are places for people in Hallow who are skeptical and new to this whole faith conversation. And there's places for those who have been swimming in these waters their entire life and who just want to go deeper. And there are stories, audiobooks, and other special things for kids and focuses on mental and emotional health. For listeners of the Dr. John Delony Show, Hallow will give you 3 free months. That's all 10,000 plus prayers, meditations, music, lecture series, all of it. 3 free months. If you go to hallow.com/Delony. That's Hallow, HALLOW.com/Delony. All right, let's go out to Canada, Ontario, and talk to Lisa. Hey, Lisa, what's up, lady?
Hey, how's it going?
Partying. What about you?
Sitting in my car. I'm so excited to be talking to you, but I'm also really nervous. So thank you.
I'm super excited to be talking to you. Hey, I was in Dallas this past week, and I met some amazing folks from Ontario. A whole bunch of you guys came down. Super fun. They represented Canada well, so that's awesome.
Okay, well that's good to hear. That's good to hear.
So what's up?
Okay. So I guess I'll just jump into my kind of questions. So
Cannonball.
I found your show actually last month through listening to the Ramsey show as I'm trying to sort out my finances. And so I've been listening to your podcast. And so my question is about getting over a fear of relationships and decision making. So even though I really want to be in a relationship and get married, and I definitely want to be a mom one day, I keep getting hung up on dating. So some background, I came from a large conservative, fairly religious family. Dating wasn't really encouraged when I was younger. the I Kiss Dating Goodbye book was definitely a thing in our house.
Sweet.
I haven't hooked up ever with anybody, but like masturbation, sexual intrusive thoughts were definitely an issue that started when I was younger.
Can I just keep interrupting you? Is that okay?
Yeah, for sure.
I hate it that I do this all the time, but I always want to just stop for a second. All right, you said you came from a large religious conservative home and dating wasn't really encouraged. That was a super kind of borderline not truthful way of saying that, right?
Yeah, it was like not encouraged. Some of my siblings who maybe were dating not with my parents knowing.
Okay. So it was like a secretive
Yeah.
mud hole, like we don't do this, we're going to stomp any of those things in the ground. How old are you right now?
Now I'm in my early 30s.
Okay, so
and
why is
most of my other siblings, older and younger, are married.
Okay, all right. So why is like thinking about sex, why is masturbation, why does that haunt you? You're 31.
Like, what do you mean? Well, because I don't feel like
it's a natural part of being a human being to figure out what you like and what you're into.
No,
and you're all by
no.
yourself. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, that does make sense. It's
Okay.
just that I feel like the stories I tell myself in those times
there
are
you go.
always like
There you go.
very dark.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Totally. Yes. And
Okay.
now you're looking around and all of your siblings are married, so they've clearly figured this out and you feel like what?
Yeah, like that is part of it. So I feel like I can't trust myself to make this big decision because every other decision in life is pretty much changeable. Whereas, like, I feel like marriage is forever. And so, like, say, for example, like, I went to university. That was, like, I could start my degree and then I could drop out of school. I mean, I didn't. I stayed in school. But, you know what I mean? Like, there's, like, a permanence to the covenant of marriage that I feel like keeps me from, I don't know, being able to, like, date freely, if that makes sense. In the sense of being, like, I want to do this and I don't have to be afraid that I'll end up with the wrong person.
When did you learn to not trust you? And here's why I asked that. I'll give you a second. I asked that because there's an other side to that safety of that covenant. And some people who grow up in really chaotic homes are really deeply drawn back to the chaos. And other people who grew up in chaotic homes are really, really drawn to that safety of, you're my person, we are ride or die, we're going to figure this out over the next 60, 70 years. And,
yeah, there's a mix of those in our family.
Yeah, so beneath all of that, though, for you, is you don't trust you. Where does that come from? What have you messed up so bad that you don't trust even your attraction, your love? Like, where does that come from?
I mean, I can't pinpoint like a specific moment. Like my parents did separate for a little bit because like my dad was fairly controlling, like, and I was like really young. I don't really remember this, but it sounded like he was emotionally abusive, and like my oldest sister was really affected by that as like a child. So my mom separated for like a couple, I don't think it might have been months. But then we like eventually got back together. They had more kids. And so like I knew that it was like super important to always do the right thing in a sense growing up, because like you didn't want to make anybody mad. But I don't exactly, like I can't really trace that to an instance.
Is the idea of living the life your mom has led, does that terrify you?
Yeah.
Okay. Say that out loud.
Okay. The idea of living the life that my mom has lived terrifies me.
Okay. That's different than I don't trust Lisa. That is all be damned if I'm going to end up like my mom. So much so that I will rob myself of laughter and safety and love and wild rock of sex with some person that I am head over heels with, that I have anchored to for the rest of my life. I'll throw all that away because I'm not going to have that. Not going to be like my mom. And you've been haunted by mom and dad's voices for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, and I see it. I feel like, I mean, like, I love my siblings and my...
Stop apologizing. You're so good.
They have great relationships. Lots of them have great relationships with their partners. But some of them have married people that I'm like, I would not.
Then don't. Okay, but then don't.
I know, but it's like they didn't seem that way at the time.
Okay. I bet they did. Occasionally you get just a full-on bait and switch. That happens. I've talked to those people. I've met those people. Most of the time you marry somebody and people just grow up and they change. And they have to decide day by day, month by month, year by year, season by season. All right, let's relearn, because you're a new person now. I'm a new person now. Thank God I'm a different guy than my wife married, right? Because she married an idiot. A moron, right?
No, I mean, yeah, you do want your partner to grow and change. Okay.
What's the thing beneath the thing here? Have you screwed something up bad in a relationship before? Have you broke somebody's heart or had your heart broken?
Like, yes, in the sense that, like, so I've been in 2 very brief relationships. They were both about 3 months. And in the one, he was like, like he indicated he was a Christian. And then we did, like, the Christian things. We went to church. We started, like, praying together. He grew up in a Christian family. We were, like, reading a devotional together. And then something just, like, didn't fit right with me, which I had known earlier, but we kept dating because he was very great in a lot of other ways. And so finally one day I was just like, hey, like, is this a real, like, personal thing for you? And he's like, actually, no, it's not. I was like, okay, well, that's good to know, kind of thing. So I was really hurt by that, because we had talked about how important that was to me. But at the same time, I knew, like, probably by our 3rd date, that I was like, this doesn't quite seem as real as he's making it.
Mm-hmm. And so let's take dating, because dating's off the table. Let's take dating off the table because it's very, it's electric.
Yeah.
Have you ever played basketball?
Like, not actually on a team, but just for fun.
Okay. Let's say you suddenly tomorrow were like, I really want to play basketball. And they're like, cool, you're on the team. Get out on the court. And you ran out on the court. And you grew up in a home and your parents are like, people who play basketball are evil. And actually, if they miss shots and layups, this eternal evil being is going to damn them to hell forever and roast them and torture them. And then you get thrown out onto the field, onto the basketball court, not even a field, a court. And they throw you the ball and they're like, go get them. And you're like, I don't even know the rules of the game. I don't know how to play. And they're like, pass the ball, shoot, pass it. What are you doing? Ah! Right? And then you actually are on a team and they're like, let's let her get some layups and stuff. And it's cool. And then after a few months, they start swatting your shots into the stands and they steal the ball from you. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm not as good at this as I thought. Would that mean you're a terrible person? You're dumb? You're untrustworthy?
No.
No, it would mean you don't know how to play basketball because you've never played it. And everyone around you is like, I'm amazing at basketball. And you watch them, and some of them are pretty good, and some of them are like throwing the ball off the top of the backboard. And they're like, look at that shot. And you're like, that's not a good shot, right? All that to say is this. Give yourself some grace and begin to change the narrative in your mind that Lisa is somebody that is trustworthy. And Lisa's real smart. And Lisa doesn't have to cut off all 10 of her toes just so she doesn't end up running the race like her mom did. And when you get that gut reaction, I want you to leave. Even if everyone around you is like, oh, isn't he wonderful? And if you have a boundary and you let it go a little bit too, like real close to the boundary or too, like, don't beat yourself up over it. You missed a layup. I learned something. Cool. And I don't want to undermine it. Relationships, romantic relationships, they're heavy and they are intense and they're vulnerable and they're revealing. All those things are true. And then you throw in religion, and you throw in parent issues, and you throw in siblings. All of it gets so heavy. And so I'm intentionally trying to talk in a way that to lessen the pressure, because nobody can. I mean, you're turning this into an NBA playoff game, and you've never dribbled a basketball in front of anybody, right? And the pressure's so much. You go on one date, and you're like, okay, is this going to be a guy I could be with forever? That's a lot of pressure the first time you go out. And he tried to grab my hand. Does that mean he's going to want to? Oh gosh, is he trying to do? Oh, just go have fun. Can you practice that for a season?
Yeah, and I feel like I was doing really good at that. Where I was going on so many, I went on 5 first dates in 1 week. I was like, okay, if this is what we're doing, this is what we're doing. And then had that relationship was like that also happened around some other like personal stuff that happened. So then didn't for a while. And then I was just like, I just feel like I'm so tired of this, because now literally my mom is like, oh, so-and-so asked about you, or like,
yeah, she doesn't get a vote. Don't let her do that. Like, don't let her do that. She doesn't get a vote. She cashed out. You're 31 years old. And I want you to say, Mom, I don't want to hear anybody don't set me up with anybody. And if you want to get real mean, you could say your track record's not super great, but I don't want you to set me up with anybody. I don't want you to hook me up with anybody. I'm a grown up and I can figure this out for myself. Even inside, you're like, I can't figure this out for myself, right?
Yeah, no, that is exactly the thought. Okay.
Is that fair?
Alrighty.
Now, I'm not saying you have to go on 5 dates on 5 nights in a week and all. That's a lot, right? That's just busy. It's exhausting. It can be confusing. I get that. But you can set yourself up like, hey, every Monday night, we're all getting together at so-and-so's house, or we're all going to get together and throw darts, and we're all going to get together at my place. Bring your friends. Bring somebody from work. Bring your friends. Hey, we're all going bowling. We're all going to go do a thing. If you're still a person of faith, I'm going to make sure that I go to this church, and I'm going to get involved in this XYZ. And if I go to a small little church, and it's just great people, and it's awesome, but it's not connecting, cool, I'm going to go to a different building. And maybe what I'm going to saying is I'm going to put myself in position to have relationships. They don't have to be romantic, and they don't have to be high pressure. And they don't have to be, we're going to make out? They're going to hold it. I'm just going to be around people. And I'm going to put myself in positions where I'm around other people. I do that now. When I start getting really introverted and really closing the world, I set up places where I've got to go be with other people in the world. And you can do that too. And by the way, just talking to you on the phone, you're a lovely person. Like, you make me laugh. You're funny. You're engaging. You're real smart. And you've got your head on a swivel. You've seen some stuff. That's the kind of person that people want to be around. And so I want you to begin practicing 10 times a day. I want you to write this down, not to manifest, nothing like that. We're just practicing the thoughts. Lisa, I don't want you to say it, not I, but I want you to say Lisa. Lisa is a person who can trust herself. Lisa is a person who can trust herself. Lisa is someone who can trust herself. I want you to begin to create some space between, I can't trust anything. Yeah, you can. I want you to begin to practice that third person. Write it 10 times a day for 30 days. See what happens. and put yourself in a position to be around other people. And not every interaction is a Super Bowl. It's just not. It's not. And when those voices in your head that tell you every thought you have, every action, everything is just bad. It's not. And you have to decide, I'm going to stop letting my mom and my dad speak into my 31-year-old mind. I'm going to stop letting a out-of-control youth minister from 20-something years ago speak into my life. I'm not going to have that anymore. I'm going to be free. I'm going to choose freedom. Whew. Now, this is going to sound like a weird sideways twist, but I'm going to send you both of my books, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, which I think is going to speak to you a lot, and Building a Non-Anxious Life. I want you to take that track. Often when we don't trust ourselves, underneath it is this sense of angst, of I'm not even sure if taking the next right step because I don't think I'm going to step in the right place. And I want you to follow that book to a T. Holler back. He's out there, I promise you. I promise you he's out there. Go get him. We'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. One of the most common questions I get on my show is, how do you get something off your chest, right? Like a deep secret that you've never told anyone. Or maybe it's something that happened to you. Or maybe it's something you've done that you're ashamed about or worried because you know bringing this to light is going to cause disruption across your life. All of us, every single one of us, have things both big and small that we need to get off our chest from time to time. And I say this all the time, secrets will kill you, but it's often so hard to know where to start. If you need to get something off your chest and you don't have a safe person to talk to, you may want to try therapy. Therapy is a safe, effective place to get things off your chest, to learn how to say scary and hard things out loud, and figure out how to work through whatever is weighing you down. I have personally been blessed to have a great therapist who I can talk to and who helps me get those heavy things off my chest. And if you are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, it's convenient, it's super flexible, and it's suited to fit your schedule, whatever your schedule happens to be. You just fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no extra money. Listen, it's time to get those secrets off your chest. Start with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Delony today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Delony. All right, let's roll out to Spokane, Washington and talk to SAM. What's up, Sam?
Hi, hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing so great. I'm so excited to be talking to you.
I'm excited to talk to you. What's up?
Well, I'm calling because, it's kind of a long story. Let's see where to start. If you don't mind, could I just read this email that I sent? It kind of has it all.
Yeah, you got it. I haven't seen the email, so yeah, feel free to read it.
Great.
And just go line by line. All good.
Great. Okay, stop me at any point. It says, hello, my name is Sam. I'm a 30-year-old female. I just turned 31. My partner and I, Randy, he's also 30.
Are y'all married, dating?
Dating.
Okay.
We've been together for about 7, almost 8 years. And when we first got together, we were very already deep into drug addiction.
What kind?
Of fentanyl and meth.
Okay.
Deep stuff. And heroin. It was rough. You sugarcoat it. It is what it is.
No, dude, that was amazing. If you go back and listen to the tape, I intentionally left a gap because that's usually how it goes. So fantastic. It's like fentanyl and meth and heroin. Okay, all right. So
and I could go on and on, but those were the main ones.
I know you could. So you were you were running and chasing ghosts for a long time.
Truly, yep, long time, long time.
Okay.
And so we got together in 2016 and only got worse and worse into it. Drug dealing, homelessness, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm.
About as bad as you can imagine it, is about it as bad as it got. And then one day, sure, go on.
Are you glossing over it for me or for the listener or for you?
I'm glossing over this part because it's not the main part of my question.
Okay. But
It's
before we
just
go.
important detail.
Okay. All right. Go for it.
It's wildly important.
Okay.
So we did that, and then about 2.5 years ago, my boyfriend, partner, and I were sitting at home, and I started to have pains in my abdomen. And then about 25 to 30 minutes later, we had a full baby.
Okay. How far along were you?
She was born about 3 weeks early, is what I was told.
And you had
So pretty much the whole
you had no
clue.
idea?
No idea the whole time. I think also denial is hugely a big part of it.
Okay. Okay. So you had a baby and people didn't ask you about it. You weren't showing.
Nope. No one asked me about it. It was maybe less than a week before she was born when my partner was like, "Hey, I think you might be pregnant." I think what happened was she started to descend to be born, and that's when my belly started to show.
Okay.
So we kind of just sat on that for a little bit. As addicts, we kind of just ignored everything.
Okay.
Sat on that for a couple days, and then she was just born.
Okay.
So
did you have the baby at home?
Yes. She was born in our bedroom. My partner Randy, he delivered her.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. So you have a baby, and were you still using actively at the time?
Correct, heavily.
Okay.
Again, we didn't know we were pregnant until the last bit of it, and then she was born. It was all very chaotic, but very healthy, perfect. She had some withdrawals, obviously, but other than that, perfectly healthy.
Did you lose custody?
Briefly.
How long?
About 3 months.
Okay. And then did you have to go in every day and test?
Well, what we did is my partner and I, we decided to move into a long-term treatment program.
Okay.
So we were there for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years.
Okay. So as a part of, after 3 months, the people at the rehab facility vouched for you enough and your blood tests were clean enough that they let you have your baby. Did you get access, 24/7 access, or just limited access?
Yes. Nope, 24/7. She was fully ours.
Okay.
And then after 6 months, they dropped the CPS case. Everything has been dropped.
Okay.
We are now living in our own apartment. I also have a son who was born a year after my daughter, and everything's going great.
Okay.
They're both extremely healthy, extremely happy. Our bills are paid on time. Everything's going fantastically. We did it. We did it.
Are you sober?
Super sober.
Is
Dead sober.
boyfriend sober?
Completely sober.
Why hasn't he married you yet?
I
7
think,
years, 2 kids.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really found a whole lot of importance in getting married. It's, a lot's happened.
Okay.
A lot more important things have happened. We're fighting to get our kid back, and having another kid, and in rehab, and getting sober.
A thing that would give you some peace in your nervous system is stability.
Yes. I think you're absolutely right.
Somebody looking you in the eye and saying, ride or die till death does us part.
Yes. And honestly, he is so on board and game. He would marry me right now if I asked him to.
Well, that's his. I'm a traditionalist. I'm kind of an old fuddy-duddy.
Yeah.
But okay, so go ahead.
Yeah.
What's your question?
I'm definitely sure we will get married eventually. I'm sure of it.
What's your
a little bit backwards, but as they get older, what and how do I tell them all the things that we've been through?
All the things you've been through, you don't.
Very valid.
Hold on. I need you to hear me
sure.
very carefully on this, okay? The people that I know and love that have struggled with meth, people I know and love who struggle with heroin, often feel the need to enter a room and let that be their calling card for entry. Because here's what I know about you. You've seen dark, dark stuff. Fair?
True.
You've done things that would rattle the mind of the average listener of this show, right?
Yeah.
I've sat with you before. Not you particular, but people in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see a little baby and you recognize that if you were using as heavily as you tell me you were, and I bet you're underselling it a bit, and they're telling you that baby's safe and baby's healthy and baby's neurologically okay.
Yep.
You know in your soul you dodged a missile.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
And the longer you hang on to that, the longer your kid absorbs that nervous system of yours. Be grateful beyond measure for every second of every day. And don't walk around the world with a scarlet A around your neck about what you used to do, about what things happened. Because here's what I know about you. Growing up for you was hell, wasn't it?
No. Honestly, my parents married the whole time. They just
Hold on.
celebrated 39 years.
And then how'd you get off the rails?
I just trusted people that I shouldn't have. It was a boyfriend that I had years ago, and
Okay.
He just asked me to smoke something with him and didn't know what it was. And man, do you get hooked on that fast?
Yeah, you do. Okay, so
Yeah.
you're one of the rare ones. I was wrong. You're one of the rare ones that I'll trust you. I don't fully believe you, but I'll trust you that everything was great and rosy. Very, very rare. Okay?
Yeah.
But you and I both know that when that stuff hooks you, it starts the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
I'll do anything to get it. And then I've got to get more to forget what I just did to get it.
Right.
And the loop doesn't stop and doesn't stop and doesn't stop. And then the things to get it become crazier and more like, whoa. And then the need to cover up gets deeper, right?
True. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
Are you a good mom?
I didn't do my absolute best.
Nope. That's not what I said. Are you a good mom?
Yes, I'm a great mom.
That's your new calling card. That's who you are. That's your identity.
Okay. That's perfect. I love that.
Sorry. No, don't be sorry. See, you're already walking it back. Don't be sorry. You have nothing to be sorry about. You literally have been to hell as described in the Bible, and you're back.
Yeah. Yeah, it was tough, but it was...
And you're a good mom.
Thank you.
Is boyfriend a good man?
The best. I've never met a better man in my life.
What's he do for work?
He does landscaping currently.
Okay.
And we're getting ready to move in a couple months to Pennsylvania to be closer to my family and my parents. And then he's going to go back to school for welding.
Incredible. Are you connected to your mom and dad?
I am. Extremely. Yep.
Is that a safe place?
Extremely. Extremely. Yep.
Are you able to walk into that home with your head held high?
Yes. Yep.
And they don't shame you
and
they don't throw sticks and rocks at you?
Never.
Okay. Then get back there as soon as you can.
All right.
And now listen, when it comes to telling your kids, as things come up, you might tell them, Mom used to be really sick.
Okay.
Mom used to be real sick. I was sick for a long time. And some of the medicines I tried to use to make myself not sick made things worse. And then one day you're going to find one of your kids with a vape pen in their room, or they're going to find, they're going to come home late. They're going to be like, you don't know anything, Mom. Ah! Right? Just like you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can say, hey, I know.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right.
And
that's perfect.
They never need to know the black hole stuff.
Good.
That doesn't mean you're
Okay.
lying to them. Doesn't mean you're hiding from them. Okay?
Okay, good.
And there may come a day when you look at your kid when they're 16, 17, 18, and they're going through their own struggles, and you say, I used to have a pretty significant problem with drugs, and I had to surrender, and I had to say I'm sorry. And maybe as they get older, you can tell them about how hard your childhood was. Their childhood was. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Are you still walking around feeling
wonderful.
guilty a lot?
I try not to, but you know how it is.
I don't.
Yeah. It's what happened, and all I know is that we did everything in our power to right as many wrongs as we could, and we didn't wait to do it either. Like we did a lot of things right in the fact that because it's easier when you think you're only hurting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But then we weren't just hurting ourselves anymore, and someone else needed us. So we did that because it wasn't enough for us to just get better for ourselves.
But you know as well as I do, that's the only way it stays long term.
Yes. Yep.
And Sam, hear me as direct as you can, as you can. You're worth getting well for.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. That really means a lot to me.
You're worth waking up and having coffee and smiling, and you're worth the sunshine coming up, and you're worth your rent being paid, and you knowing that nobody can take your house away.
Yeah.
You're worth having some knuckleheaded husband wake up, walk around the house in his underwear, and you'd be like, ugh, right? You're worth all of that stuff, right?
Yeah, just the normal everyday stuff that everybody gets to experience, and I get to have it now, and it's so, so, so good.
Will you promise me you'll never use again?
I promise.
Do you have a sponsor to call?
I don't have a sponsor, but I live directly across the street from my rehab, so I can just walk right across the street.
You won't have that in Pennsylvania.
That is true, and I only know my parents there.
So that's not going to be the place. So you have to promise me and everybody listening to the show, the first call you will make and your husband will make before you turn on the electricity and the internet is to find the local meeting, and you're going to go.
Okay, perfect. I will do that.
Is that fair?
It'll be our first date night.
That's the strangest date night, but go get them. All right, but listen, you're going to be in a new place, and you're going to have a strangely familiar feeling to that place.
Yeah.
And the old demons are there. You're going to run into old people that you knew. All the stuff, right?
Well, I don't know I've never been to the East Coast like that.
It's a new place?
It's going to be a completely new start.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And you know as well as I do, you can walk into a room of 1,000 people and take one glance across the room, and you know exactly where the coke is. You know exactly where the heroin is. Right?
I try not to walk into buildings.
I know
it's gonna
but you
be.
can walk into a coffee shop and be like, I'm going to give that guy $40. It's a strange superpower.
It is. It is. But I'm also grateful for that because it helps me. I try to make all of it as difficult as possible.
That's right.
I cut everybody off that I used to know.
Good.
I'm not in contact with a single person.
Good.
It would be extremely difficult for me to get drugs today if I wanted to. Not that I want to, but I've purposely put up roadblocks.
Sam, you could go to Whole Foods right now and find it, and you know that now.
That's true.
You could. And
that's true.
I'm really proud of you every day for waking up and making a choice not to. It's hard.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, your babies need a clear-eyed mom who loves herself enough to take care of herself, to exercise, to eat right, to get some sleep. They deserve a dad who's working his butt off, making some money, getting a career, doing all those things.
Yep.
And
they do.
And so do you.
Oh.
And you're the person who's left yourself out of this equation. We're done with that. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, there will come a moment in 15 or 16 years when you need to sit down with your kids and say, hey, I've been there too.
Okay, good. But they don't need to know everything. They don't. I'm not lying to them. I'm not keeping anything from them.
If your kid says, hey, have you ever done X, Y, and Z for money, Mom? You will say, I'm not telling you anything about that part of my life, period.
Okay, great. Boundaries, clear set boundaries. I love that.
And your parents are great people, you say?
It's phenomenal. Fantastic.
What would you think if you sat down something as benign as, hey, Mom, what's the wildest night of sex you and Dad ever had?
Oh, God.
Right? What would you hope she said? I'm not telling you that. Right? Yep. I'm never going to talk to you about that because I want to preserve your soul, right? You don't need to know that.
Great.
And it wouldn't be a lie. It would be her saving your life. Right? And so similarly, they don't get access to everything you did. There may be a moment when some of the corners of hell where you spent some time, it might be a gift to them. And as you begin to make meaning and transition your identity away from a person who did all these things to someone who's a freaking amazing mom and stronger than anybody else in the Mother's Day Out pickup line, right?
Yeah.
As you transition your identity to that, you're going to have less and less need to go back to those old memories.
Oh,
you're freaking Sam, dude. A great mom.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Now,
truly.
Tell that goofball to marry you. It's time. 7 years. Good?
Okay. Yeah, we'll do.
Quit getting all sophisticated about it. It's what got you in this mess in the first place. Go marry him. All right? I'm super grateful for you, and I'm proud of you. 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 To hell and back. You cannot go back and undo and change anything that's happened. You can make tomorrow different. And it's going to be a fight. It's going to be a slog. And it's going to be a uphill battle. And Sam, you're doing it. And I'm super, super proud of you. Amazing. Thank you so much for the call. We'll be right back. Hey, what's up? Delony here. Listen, you and me and everybody else on the planet has felt anxious or burned out or chronically stressed at some point. In my new book, Building a Non-Anxious Life, you'll learn the 6 daily choices that you can make to get rid of your anxious feelings and be able to better respond to whatever life throws at you so you can build a more peaceful, non-anxious life. Get your copy today at johndelony.com. All right, we're back. Hey, this is a weird way for me to end a segment. I've never ended a show like this. But I think it's important every once in a while just to give a moment. I'll call this a new segment called The Daily Gratitude. I'm just super grateful. Back when I was launching my first big book, the first big national release, Own Your Past, Change Your Future, we have a PR team, a press team that sends out all kind of things and tries to get me on all these shows and news hits and morning news channels and yada, yada, yada. And I was a nobody. Nobody knew who I was. And my podcast was really small. And there was 4 dudes in San Jose, California who took a shot on me. Justin and Adam, Sal, Doug, and the whole team out there. The Mind Pump guys. And I didn't know anything about them. I just know they booked him, and we flew out to San Jose to be on the show. And only a couple of podcasts had me out, and they were one of them. And they were so hospitable, and they were great human beings off air. And as I started to listen to their stuff to try to figure out who they were, it was such a, God, so grateful. It was such a gift. And they're trying to disrupt the fitness industry space, which is full of trash and nonsense and advice, or it's not even advice, it's just nonsense that actually hurts people. And they're trying to do what Dave Ramsey did for money. Just simplify it, completely turn the whole nonsensical thing on its head. And I just was out there a few weeks ago And I was just reminded how grateful I am for friends, for people who take a chance on just a knucklehead like me, but also guys who are of great character behind closed doors. And that's who the Mind Pump guys are. And so if you are wondering about fitness and nutrition and you don't have a podcast you can listen to, those guys are amazing. Go check them out. They don't censor. They just let it rip as it is. And so probably buckle up. But if you want the best advice, you want to laugh along the way, and you want to learn some things, they are a great podcast. And if you're like Kelly and you just want to look at 3 smoke shows, there's that too. They're pretty handsome dudes. They're all married, but they're pretty handsome guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, y'all. I had to spend 2 hours sitting mere feet away from him, and it was not the worst 2 hours I've ever spent in my life.
And just as an aside, if you are in the fitness space, if you're a trainer, my buddies, they have the most downloaded fitness podcast on planet Earth, right? And they just put out a 3-day virtual course for fitness trainers and coaches that teaches you how to build your business. Please go check it out. mindpumptrainercourse.com. Go check it out. Over 10,000 trainers have done it. It's available for everyone. And I'm reading this for them. I'm not charging them to read this. These are guys that I trust and guys that I love. And if I was going to become a personal trainer, this would probably be one of the first places I started. It would be the first place I started. Go check it out, mindpumptrainercourse.com. And for my brothers, my 4 buddies, thank y'all so much for pouring into me personally, letting me reach out and ask questions about business, about physical fitness, about training, about stuff I'm struggling with psychologically. And thank you for your trust when you call. And I appreciate you guys taking a risk on me, taking a chance. I'm really, really grateful. And if you have some friends in your life that have taken a chance on you, right now, this show's winding down. Finish this podcast. Give them a call. Don't just shoot them a text. It's too easy. Give them a call and say, hey, just want to say thank you for taking a chance on me. Love you guys. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Bye.